Hello, everybody. This is after the recording. George Russell has been disqualified for an underweight car. This moves everybody up one place. This just happened after the race, a couple hours later. I've decided to keep the original positions because I can't be asked to re-record. I'm sorry about that. So, yeah, this is just a little flyer at the beginning. Hamilton is the winner now, so yeah, everyone's up one place officially. Enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Hello, and welcome to another episode of F1 Chat. Today we're going to be discussing the Belgian Grand Prix. We're going to start with the first team, Sauber kick them out of F1. That's my joke every time. Zhou did not finish, and Bottas P16. Zhou had engine issues. Sauber looked really bad overall. I think I saw Bottas make a pass on like Hulkenberg or something in the back, but that's about all I saw from them. They need to work on their car. They're bad. They're really bad. I don't know why I have to talk about them every single week. Anyway, moving on. Williams, Albon P13, Sargent P18. Williams was able to put Albon in some sort of competitive position early on in the race, but it wasn't quite enough. They lacked the pace. Sargent was nowhere. I thought maybe Albon would be fighting for points. He got a little close, P13. It just didn't work out. Kind of like Sauber, just a bad. Like they were like better, but not great. Moving on, we have Alpine. They have their nice red livery for Deadpool. Ocon P10 1 point, Gasly P14. Ocon actually delivered a point after a few races without scoring. This is their best race in a few races. So a good race before the summer break, right? Like not bad. The car was pretty cool. It's like a Haas kind of. If you didn't know it was a new livery, you would have thought that was is that the Haas from last year? Like what? Like what's going on here? Anyway, speaking of Haas, moving on. K-Mag P15, Hulk P19. Haas looked to be absolutely nowhere. They didn't have any pace. They looked bad. This might have been their worst race of the season. I think the past 2 races or 3 races have been just really bad for them. I don't know what's happening. Like they looked really good early in the season, but for some reason these European circuits aren't doing it for them. I don't really know what the difference is. It's just maybe the drivers have checked out because they're both leaving. I don't know, but yeah, they haven't looked too good. So moving on, we have V-Carb racing Bulls. Ricardo P11, Tsunoda P17. Similar to Williams, kind of a similar story. Ricardo looked to be competitive, but he just couldn't get the job done. Couldn't get in the points. P11, P10 has 1 point. So yeah, and then Tsunoda had a stinker. He just didn't have the pace, didn't have what it took to get there. Yeah, kind of a step back for V-Carb a little bit. Haven't looked as strong as they were early in the season. So yeah, going into summer break, they need to regroup. Maybe the Red Bull will make some moves. Who knows on that front? Perez might have done enough this weekend, but I don't know. And then we have Aston Martin. Alonso P9, 2 points, Stroll P12. Early in the race, I thought Aston Martin might push both in the top 10 because they were running fairly well, had qualified pretty well. Alonso managed to stay in the points, but Stroll lacked the straight line speed. He came on the radio and swore immediately after they told them. They basically told all the drivers not to swear on the radio because of Verstappen, and then Lance is on the radio. The straight lines, fuck the straight line speed, he said, or something like that. So yeah. I found that kind of funny, but yeah, Aston Martin just kind of looking stuck in 5th, stuck in the same speed they were. Like they haven't moved forward, they haven't moved backwards. They're kind of just in between Formula A and Formula B, if you will. Yeah. So moving on, we have Mercedes, Hamilton P18, Hamilton P2 18 points, Russell P1 25 points, and the race win. Mercedes 1-2 for the 3rd win in 4 races. They seem to have finally figured out their car. Russell with a great drive and a great call to stay out on one stop gets the win. Drives brilliantly. And then Hamilton drove very well too. He just didn't have enough to pass Russell in those few laps that were left. Like he needed probably 1 or 2 more laps, and he could have probably passed them. But yeah, it was a really good race for Mercedes. They've found their form. It seems like in the past few races, evidenced by the wins, and they get the strategy right. Unlike the next team, or unlike the next two teams, I would say. So yeah, good win for Mercedes. They're climbing up the standings. They're still quite far back from McLaren and Ferrari, so they're working their way up though with this pace. And then next we have Ferrari, Sainz P7, 6 points, Leclerc P4, 12 points. Sainz had a good race again, and he was done out by the strategy, timing of his pit. It just put him on the back foot. And then also Leclerc, who had a good race, finished P4. He had a weird strategy too. They called him in like after 7 laps. Like that's such short middle stints that like it didn't make any sense. Like they could have went longer on those tires, and they just because like it was like the first stop, and then 7 laps later they called them both in again, and or like 7 or 8 laps later, like they were offset by 1 lap or 2 laps or something, but like they were basically called in in a short second stint, and then the third stint was long. I guess because of the undercut and all that, like what was happening around them, probably necessitated that strategy. But it was weird because ultimately the pace wasn't there. They weren't as quick as McLaren or Mercedes. So, but they did seem to have the same pace as Red Bull, so they stayed with them. You know, I mean, not bad. Like it was overall a good race, like a better race than previous races they've had. So I'm sure they'll take it. Moving on, we have McLaren. Piastri P3, 15 points. Norris P6, 8 points. Piastri had a great race. Drove really well to get in the podium. He's having a burner of a season now. He's had a few good overtakes too, especially on that corner after Le Rouge, the top of the hill. Really nice pass around the outside around I forget who it was, but yeah. And then he did an inside pass as well. So earlier on. And Piastri driving his butt off this season. He's looking like the #1 driver now. And then as for Norris, P6, I mean, honestly, it was his own doing. He went off the track at the first lap, made too many mistakes. He kept going off. It looks like he forgot how to drive. I said it on Twitter. Yeah, he forgot how to drive. Like, I don't know what's going on with him. Like, why did he forget how to drive, bro? Like, I don't know. Like, he just made too many mistakes, and he kind of finished, you know, not that far away from where he started, but he didn't really make any progress at all. Like, it looked bad. I mean, at least McLaren didn't fuck up the strategy this race, but like because they had Piastri out there at P3. So, I mean, overall, I'm happy. We didn't lose too much in the race, but Verstappen still finished ahead. We're going to get on to him next by 1 place. So we go on to Red Bull. Perez P8, 5 points, fastest lap. Verstappen P5, 10 points. So Verstappen had a decent race from P11 after his engine penalty. He had a 10-place grid drop. He qualified on pole, technically, but ultimately because Red Bull have to run the car so low, he wasn't able to push to his maximum pace. And this meant that he wasn't really able to catch the people in the front. Like he never really had the like crazy Verstappen pace that he usually has for some reason, because of they're saying it's because that's when the car's so low it hits at Eau Rouge, and if it wears the plank too much you get disqualified, like it happened in Texas last year, so to Leclerc and Hamilton. So basically he was kind of stuck just running at the same pace as Norris. They kind of just stick together the whole race. Kind of weird, but I mean, everyone was expecting him to come through the field, and he didn't, basically, which is probably good. And then Perez finally breaks the curse of bad qualifying in Europe, starts P2. Finally, he has a good qualifying in Europe, but then he manages to fumble it in the race, of course, because his race pace was not very good, and he just needs to drive better in the race, drive faster. Not much else to it. He didn't crash, but like he also just didn't drive fast enough. So yeah, F1's getting very interesting, and it's gonna be an interesting race for the final end of the season after summer break, 3 weeks off, and then I think it's the Netherlands, Max's home race, and then Monza. So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, and Ferrari all fighting for that top spot. So tune in next time at the end of August for the next F1 chat. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.